Breaking news, last night President Trump demanded $2,000 stimulus checks be included in the new relief package or he is not signing off on it. He said that the new bill is a disgrace with wasteful spending and that $600 stimulus checks was too low and he wants to provide Americans at least a $2,000 stimulus check. So there's good news and bad news here. The good news is that we may be getting $2,000 stimulus checks. The bad news, I'll let you know after I play the clip of President Trump. So this also got a response from critics such as Pelosi, AOC, Sanders, as well as Josh Hawley. This came out last night around 9 p.m., 9:04 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on his Twitter account. So in this video, let me play this clip first, then I'll get into the bad news, the response, as well as the possibility of this happening. So first, here's the clip of President Trump.
Throughout the summer, Democrats cruelly blocked COVID relief legislation in an effort to advance their extreme left-wing agenda and influence the election. Then, a few months ago, Congress started negotiations on a new package to get urgently needed help to the American people. It's taken forever. However, the bill they are now planning to send back to my desk is much different than anticipated. It really is a disgrace. For example, among the more than 5,000 pages in this bill, which nobody in Congress has read because of its length and complexity, it's called the COVID Relief Bill, but it has almost nothing to do with COVID. This bill contains $85.5 million for assistance to Cambodia, $134 million to Burma, $1.3 billion for Egypt and the Egyptian military, which will go out and buy almost exclusively Russian military equipment. $25 million for democracy and gender programs in Pakistan. $505 million to Belize, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Panama. $40 million for the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., which is not even open for business. $1 billion for the Smithsonian, and an additional $154 million for the National Gallery of Art. Likewise, these facilities are essentially not open. $7 million for reef fish management, $25 million to combat Asian carp, $2.5 million to count the number of amberjack fish in the Gulf of Mexico, a provision to promote the breeding of fish in federal hatcheries, $3 million in poultry production technology, $2 million to research the impact of down trees, $566 million for construction projects at the FBI. The bill also allows stimulus checks for the family members of illegal aliens, allowing them to get up to $1,800 each. This is far more than the Americans are given. Despite all of this wasteful spending and much more, the $900 billion package provides hardworking taxpayers with only $600 each in relief payments. And not enough money is given to small businesses, and in particular restaurants, whose owners have suffered so grievously. They were only given a deduction for others to use in business their restaurant for 2 years. This 2-year period must be withdrawn, which will allow the owners to obtain financing and get their restaurants back in condition. Congress can terminate it at a much later date, but 2 years is not acceptable. It's not enough. Congress found plenty of money for foreign countries, lobbyists, and special interests, while sending the bare minimum to the American people who need it. It wasn't their fault. It was China's fault, not their fault. I am asking Congress to amend this bill and increase the ridiculously low $600 to $2,000 or $4,000 for a couple. I'm also asking Congress to immediately get rid of the wasteful and unnecessary items from this legislation and to send me a suitable bill, or else the next administration will have to deliver a COVID relief package, and maybe that administration will be me, and we will get it done. Thank you very much.
Let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. Do you think we're going to get a $2,000 stimulus check? Also, what do you think about President Trump exposing all of that wasteful spending and special interest money that lines the pockets of Congress? Those billions of dollars should be used to help out Americans, especially during the worst crisis we've ever had in our lifetime. Let me go into responses first, then I'll give you some more info. So AOC said, let's do it. And I already co-wrote the COVID amendment for $2,000 checks, so it's ready to go. Glad to see the president is willing to support our legislation. We can pass $2,000 stimulus checks this week if the Senate GOP agrees to stand down. Also, Senator Chuck Schumer replied to that saying, I'm in, what do you think, Mitch? Or what do you say, Mitch? Let's not get bogged down with ideological offsets and unrelated items and just do this. The American people deserve it. And then at Senator Mitch McConnell. Then also, Nancy Pelosi responded to this as well. She said, Republicans repeatedly refused to say what amount the president wanted for direct checks. At last, president has agreed to $2,000. Democrats are ready to bring this to the floor this week by unanimous consent. Let's do it. Then also, Bernie Sanders jumps in too, and he's saying, that's great. I first introduced a bill to provide $2,000 direct payments with Kamala Harris and Ed Markey 7 months ago. Now, Mr. President, get Mitch McConnell and your Republican friends to stop opposing it, and we could provide working class Americans with $2,000. Let's do it. Then Josh Hawley, Republican senator, also jumps in on this. He's been in favor of at least $12,000 or $1,200 stimulus checks. He responds to this saying, Donald Trump is right. Workers deserve much more than $600, as I've repeatedly said and fought for. And there's obviously plenty of money to do it. Look at what Congress threw away on corporate giveaways and foreign buyouts. Let's get this done. So you can see the response from the Democrats, even a Senate Republican, is positive. What is going to happen? So President Trump has a lot of leverage in this situation. So this bill passed in the House, it passed in the Senate. Now the president has to sign off on it, and he could say, I am not signing anything unless it has a $2,000 stimulus check. This is that moment right now. Our deadline is December 28th for something to be signed. Otherwise, we're going to have a government shutdown. Another reason why President Trump has a lot of leverage in this situation is because of the Georgia runoff. Some people say that the only reason why we got a measly $600 stimulus check is because of the Republicans wanted to give it for the Georgia runoff to potentially win that Senate race and gain control or the majority of the Senate. If the Republicans lose the Georgia runoff, then they lose the Senate. So if President Trump could give out $2,000 stimulus checks, this will help their chances with the Georgia runoff. If they do not agree, then this will hurt their chances. So he has a lot of leverage in that situation. On to the bad news. So I mentioned in the beginning, the good news is that we may be getting $2,000 stimulus checks. The bad news is that we may have to wait a little longer. We're not going to get a $600 stimulus check next week, which is what Steve Mnuchin said the timeline would be from the Treasury Department. Instead, well, let me know what you think about this. Should we get a $600 stimulus check next week, or are you willing to wait for a $2,000 stimulus check in 2 or 3 weeks? I think it's probably better off waiting to see if we could get this $2,000 stimulus check. Well, let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. That is all the stimulus news I have for you today. To cheer up your mood a little bit, here is my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, I want to tell you the one thing that you can do to yourself. Be kind, be smart, and also you have to be kind to your mom, your daddy, or your brother, or sister, or anything that you want. And also you have to be kind to yourself.
And if you want to keep the positive vibes going and feel inspired, I highly recommend you click this video over here. It's on my Wise Vibes channel. It's the story of Sylvester Stallone creating the movie Rocky. He wrote the script within 24 hours and was offered over $300,000 for that script, but he denied it because he said that he wanted to star in the movie and got offered a lot less. He had to sell his dog just to pay for rent. It's a really inspiring story, so click that now and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.